There was no why then. I just joined it because I was supposed to get interviewed by Hrithik Roshan.
Oh my God.
That thought was very, very exciting. We have changed lives for the good.
Okay.
And all of this is going around and amplifying our authenticity as we are coming across as a brand which hands-hold people. That is the purpose, that a hero who's perpetually a hero also goes through very, very human challenges, right?
Yeah.
While you may assume seeing on the screen that he's always a 10 on 10, but behind that 10 on 10, a lot of effort goes on.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Modernizing Biz podcast. On this episode, we have a very special guest with us. Pallavi Barman is here from HRX. Hi Pallavi, how are you?
Hi Minesh, I'm very well. How are you?
All good. I'm stunned after seeing your energy all around. Before meeting you, I just heard a lot about you from your teammates. So
Better be good things.
yeah, good things, not in a bad direction. I know you are very highly result oriented driven. So wanna know what's your life before HRX look like?
Corporate life, you mean?
Yeah, corporate
Or
life.
should I be starting from scratch? Like, if you talk about my education background, I'm a quintessential engineer who didn't stick to engineering, moved to MBA, studied the world of brands, and then took up job with brands starting from Tata Teleservices. That was my first job. We were launching Virgin Mobile in India.
Wow.
Quite a task because there was no GSM back in the... Or GSM was just kind of come into play and we were launching CDMA phones. And we were selling to the millennials. So it was quite a task. Quite an energizing company that was. Virgin, the way they dealt with youth. From Virgin, I moved to Reliance, another big Indian business house.
Yeah.
Culturally very, very different. Cities were different. I started with Delhi, then I moved to Bombay. It was a culture shock to me, both in terms of the workplace and the city. It was the typical new girl in city syndrome where I started finding myself on the eastern side of Bombay and then scrambling up and cleaning up my mistake and moving to the western side of Bombay and discovering local trains and a whole host of things.
Oh my God. Yeah.
From Reliance happened VIP. Again, a very different kind of a setup, but quintessentially all of these have been Indian business houses. What I forgot was my stint with IBM as a programmer. I think barring that, MNC, I've always been with Indian business houses. And then HRX happened.
So in which department you was working?
So like I said, besides programming, Minesh, I was always into marketing and communication, building brands. That was always something which kind of seemed very, very exciting. Working on international brands, mainly in the space of premium to luxury, high street sort of a culture. A lot of my work revolved around setting up of brands, running those P&Ls, creating their launch with splashes, getting consumers to come to the store. So all those typical marketing, communications-led stuff.
So in which year HRX happened and why you feel like you HRX, I would say it's initial stage you have joined the company, right? So why you feel that why you have joined this particular venture? Because again, building something from scratch is a very challenging task. And back in those days in 20, I would say.
I didn't really set the foundation for HRX. I came in to HRX at a very, very strategic time when HRX was already planted. The germ was already planted. And the idea was to take up that sapling and grow it into a flourishing tree. There was no why then. I just joined it because I was supposed to get interviewed by Hrithik Roshan.
Oh my God.
That thought was very, very exciting. And I just took up that opportunity. I think it came my way in 2017, which was after a very crucial break. It was my first maternity break. And suddenly this happened. And there were numerous questions hanging around saying, how will you do it? Because you're bouncing back from maternity. It's a celebrity brand. And that's when the whole celebrity brand piece became a mystery which I wanted to decode. Wanted to understand that what is this business of celebrity brands. I had never heard of it before. I had never worked on a celebrity brand before. I didn't know what it entails. Like, what are the things that you need to take care of or be aware of, or what are the specific skill sets that are needed. But I think I cleared my interview with flying colors with Hrithik.
Who took your interview?
Oh, there were. It was tougher than some of the corporate interview, let me tell you, because there were 4 different levels, including me being assigned a task of sort of creating something. like a blueprint for HRX, because like I said, it was a time when the brand had to grow. It was the springboarding time for the brand to kind of become a mark in the world of commerce and business. By then, the foundation was set. It was strong enough. There was a partner in Myntra. There was a partner in CureFit. There was an investment in CureFit.
Wow.
But from there on, we had to grow it as the first homegrown fitness brand, which also happened to be a celebrity brand. So that was the brief with which we got started. And from then to now, it's just been a super exciting roller coaster journey.
Okay, so in 2017, since you have joined the brand, so what are the challenges? Because I know back in those days, they like the e-commerce landscape. What we are seeing right now is not that developed. A lot of people, a lot of like there's very small niche percentage of people who have adopted the online shopping. Like I remember those days when I used to order something from Myntra. I remember I ordered my first T-shirt and that is of HRX, I would say.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So my mom is like, how are you going to take the size, the quality? So there's a lot of myths around it. We have seen post-COVID, everything is on hike.
Yeah.
But what are the challenges a brand while developing this brand you have faced?
I'll not use the word challenge, but I will sort of try bringing in the word vision.
Okay.
When we started HRX, which was way before I joined, now technically I have to give credit to a bunch of other people who worked on this, very, very eminent people from the industry and overseas who kind of laid the foundation for HRX. There was a vision. And all of us, just whoever kind of joined, fell in line with that vision. The vision was to carve out a very, very unique space for HRX because it is uniquely poised as a celebrity brand, and that too in
Okay.
the fitness space from the home turf. India
All
didn't
right.
have many indigenous brands any which way, and this was also in the fitness space, which was evolving for Indians. I mean, we usually laugh about this, and we give this example that back in those days we used to see women in salwar kameez and sneakers walking at the beach, men
Yeah.
going for walks in Bermudas and regular polo t-shirts. Basically, there was no fitness wardrobe for anybody. There was no concept of fitness except for a handful who could afford the gym or go to the gym. Back then, to have a vision of having an e-commerce only brand stemmed from the fact that there was confidence in the reach of a celebrity brand. If you have a celebrity at the helm of affairs, then why don't you widen that reach so that you can reach the masses
Yeah.
where the fandom resides? Now, to be able to do that, either you take the offline retail route or you take the e-commerce
E-commerce.
route, which was a lesser known devil back then. Offline retail meant huge investments and huge risks because
Agree.
we were talking about, I think, tier 2, tier 1 metro cities, a very, very big plan. So we took that punt. We said that HRX is going to be an exclusive e-commerce brand, and we will grow it like that so that the reach doesn't get impeded for anybody. Right from day one, if somebody from Nasik wants it, or somebody from Jaipur wants it, or somebody from Mumbai, Thane wants it, it should be available to everybody.
Everybody. Yeah.
And that was a thought with which it started. And today also we continue to be only an e-commerce brand. We have not gone offline. We're nearly at an 800 crore mark,
Amazing.
grown across multiple categories, and everything, all the categories, which I'm sure eventually we'll talk about during the course of the conversation, is only on e-commerce.
So what are the categories currently we are serving?
Let's start counting them. Apparel, footwear, innerwear, eyewear. There's an under 17 brand which caters to 10 to 17-year-old kind of age group. We have audio, we have sports and fitness equipment, we have bicycles, we have hot food from Cloud Kitchen, we
Right.
have sports nutrition, and we're going to be having fragrance and grooming soon. Besides that, of course, we have Cult Gyms where we offer HRX workout, and there's a lot of digital content which is kind of integrated with Cult. So this is the expanse of HRX today in
All right.
2022.
So recently I've heard about this thing that you're working out something on creating community.
Yes.
So now moving down to the marketing sides of HRX, what are in this digital space, if you look at this year of 2022,
Yes.
so if you type a word t-shirt or a sports shoes, your product are maybe ranking on first, second or third search results on Google. Let's take an example, and even on social media. So you are having a very good digital space, even having a good face of the brand. So how you manage to do that? What is the marketing strategy in backend you are working on?
See, Manish, you brought up today's business scape. So I would just want to sort of take a step back and talk about what has really happened in today's business scape, especially post-pandemic. A lot of D2C brands have proliferated, right? These are all available to the customer online. They're selling on their website. There is no offline presence. For commerce to happen from within this clutter, basically what I mean to say, a consumer has many options today. And to be able to do commerce from within this clutter, we feel the path that we have chosen is to work with communities on ground, which are your super loyalists and users. To some extent, we have a cross section between Hrithik's fandom and fitness lovers. So
Okay.
they're emotionally as well as practically invested in HRX. Create that community. Community leads to content and advocacy, and that in turn leads to commerce. In a way, you also end up cultivating a lot of digital footprints by having a lot of people voicing for you, being your evangelist on the digital
Right.
platform. And community on ground also becomes our flag bearers, right?
Okay.
They all happen to be super users in their different ramps. So you talk about the runners, they are probably some of the biggest podium finishers who are with us, a part of our community.
Wow.
You talk about cycling, they just cycle for the love of cycling no matter rain or storm. I mean, we've been doing it for straight 28 weeks now. Shruti from the team runs the whole cycling community. We have run it unimpeded for 28 weeks every Saturday.
Amazing.
And people turn up to cycle irrespective of the weather, irrespective of whatever. So there's a running community, there is a cycling community, there is under 17 community where we're trying to unite kids with the cause of fitness and help them put onto this or get onto this journey of becoming fitter. We have yoga, trying to
As well for the
capitalize on that community. We have HRX workout community at Cult, and we are building the calisthenics community.
Okay,
it's
that
a-
is something that is not happening around in currently in Indian market.
it's catching steam. Like, you know, every season has a flavor. At one point in time, CrossFit was a flavor. At one point in time, lifting is a flavor. Calisthenics is the new flavor, and also I think it's becoming very interesting for people to take on because it's functional. It doesn't require too much weight except for the
Yeah.
body weight,
Yeah,
and it's
yeah,
done in
yeah.
open air. So these formats are becoming very interesting for the newer audience and especially the younger generation when we talk about millennials and Gen Z. So this community control or community management is kind of helping us in many ways. They go around, they create advocacy for us, they become our evangelist. We love feedback from them in turn because they are super users. Like I said, they understand their space. We've gone actually ahead and taken the used shoes from our runners and sent it back to the lab for understanding that what does it take for a good pair of shoe to last more than 100 days.
So that was used in your R&D as well.
Absolutely. And even with our runners, women, in terms of apparel and all, like, what does the Indian woman want who's into fitness? All these kinds of insights are derivative from our people. We
Okay.
saw our people wearing, maybe I should name it like Garmin or whatever. That's when we realized, why don't we close this loop as well? Why don't we create a smartwatch? Because there are people who need it. So all these kind of insights also
That is
stem
accurate.
by working on ground and observing these people who are
Amazing.
evangelists.
So this community that you have been hosting is both online and offline, right? What's your take on utilizing this space of NFT and Metaverse, let's say down the line, upcoming years? Do you consider them to be the part of your community?
Absolutely, with all due respect, that's where Gen Z is. That is a part of digital community harvesting. And we feel we have an advantage in terms of getting into the NFT and metaverse space primarily because we can offer the tangibles.
Yeah.
From our understanding,
goods.
what we have understood is any NFT or any digital community, people, for them to follow any digital community or a cohort, it is important that you give them some tangible benefits. Now, in our scheme of things, I mean, we have Hrithik. If let's say we launch an NFT where the exclusive benefit of that NFT holder goes on to becoming having a dinner with Hrithik,
Yeah.
there is a reason why everybody would want to. Similarly, if we create NFTs around fitness pieces and we launch an exclusive collection only for the ones who, let's say, run 50 kilometers in a year, or 50 kilometers in a week or more, there is a reason why people would want to. So we feel there's a very important and very strong marriage between what we can offer online in terms of the tangibles and the way we can leverage the digital community through NFTs.
Okay, if you want to put in simple terms your marketing strategies, let's take an example, you want to jot down in points so that any e-commerce brand, let's take an example, a small e-commerce brand who is developing in any category from home. So let's say a housewife started selling homemade cookies. It can be an e-commerce startup. So what are the marketing strategies that you can highlight which you have got benefit out of it as a brand in this journey of almost a decade now? So what are those strategies, if you can highlight in simple words, if you can jot down the
Sure.
points?
So I think first, since we spoke about community, let's just bring up the community aspect, because when you cater to a cohort, when you keep talking to them and keep delivering to them, your KPI in terms of the repeats become
Yeah.
very strong. So customer repeat rate is very important for laying down a robust e-commerce brand, because that's where your maximum revenue comes from the customers who are coming back to you again and again, no matter
Repeat
what.
customer.
Second, I think the cross pollination or the collaboration, because that brings in newer traffic, and then it's subject to us, it's unto us how do we convert them into existing consumer base. In our case, because our range is so wide in terms of the different product offerings, and they also happen to be across different platforms, any kind of cross pollination or collaboration has always helped us benefit, because it brings in newer traffic. To give you a simple analogy, the traffic on Myntra, who lands there for apparel and fashion, is very different from the traffic which lands on Flipkart.
Okay.
Because Flipkart consumer is buying accessories and equipment. They're not really the same as there is an overlap for sure, but there is room for newer people. Now, if we cross pollinate, if we create something together, then there is likelihood of the traffic increasing both ways, which means you're
Okay.
bringing this guy here and that guy there. And this is just two platforms. We have multiple platforms. We have Go Noise. We have we're going to be launching our sports nutrition. We have Cure Foods, Eat Fit. We have
This cult fit.
Cult
I think.
Fit.
Yeah.
So there are multiple platforms that we work with, multiple partners that we work with. So this really gives us a lot of benefit. And third, I think, is a very strong content strategy at the heart of it all, where now we have started pushing the consumer towards the kernel. Earlier, we used to create content with a lot of influencers, which continues to be the practice.
Right.
Now our content is also becoming heavily user generated. That means
Okay.
we've just opened up the community saying, hey guys, looking for HRX athletes. We invite applications.
All right.
People put in their entry. We shortlist 8 people, 6 people, 7 people. We transform them. And we've actually done that. We've brought in a panel of experts who do regular Zoom calls or meetings or physical training with them, and they have actually transformed people. We have changed lives for the good.
Okay.
And all of this is going around and amplifying our authenticity as we are coming across as a brand which hands-hold people. So I think these 3 things largely, which is community, like I said, collaborations or cross-pollination, and content.
So you are actually documenting the content of the community in the third strategy that you have highlighted.
I mean, that's the only way you can bring offline and online
Right,
together, right? So
and
you
that's
do
where
something.
I would say the cost is also lowering down, because influencer marketing, again, a small brand can't afford if you're talking about a new brand that is developing.
Yes.
But yeah, again, it's a cost friendly, plus again the ROI is very positive in that sense.
So, I mean, our influencer strategy is very core to us. It's not like one-off budgeted exercise where you hire 10 macro or 10
Yeah.
nano, or they're all a part of our system. We call them our key opinion leaders or KOLs. They're integrated in the system. So we tap on their door again and again. The same person gets reached out again and again. The same person gets featured in our campaign. The same person comes and shoots a catalog also with Hrithik. It is basically being a rounded thing. It's not like an outsourced thing where you just outline a budget saying, oh, these 3 months we need to shoot with macro influencers because we want so much reach, so much impression. Thankfully, it's not driven by those kind of metrics. It's basically having them as a very core part of our strategy and working in tandem with them. So cost, yeah, I mean, it reduces the cost, but what it also does is rather, let me tell you, we channelize the cost in a different way.
Okay.
Rather than paying the influencer, we take care of the influencer in many, many ways.
In community building activities.
Absolutely. So let's say if you come on board, your goal, you may have a fitness goal. You may want to be able to cycle 100 kilometers, 200 kilometers, or set a national record. We handhold you. We give you all the possible aids, right from apparel to training to food to cycle to equipment,
Wow.
and we help you achieve that. So it's
Okay.
basically partnering with somebody in their dreams and vision and becoming the brand which helps them accomplish it.
Fine. So, in which year Mintra happened, and what do you feel so? Because I seen that the this marketplace. So majorly all of the marketplace will not name it, but a lot of e-commerce brands are really dissatisfied out of them. So when Mintra happened, how did it happen? If you can help us out with the backstory.
Yeah, sure. So really backstory basically. So Hrithik and Exceed uh, came together into a partnership called HRX.
Okay.
Hrithik, the hero, he was an icon for the country. A lot of researchers were run. I think IMDb research gave us through the result at us saying that the country recognizes, and even globally, people recognize him as the hero. And he is iconic in the space of fitness. So all the resources at Exceed and Hrithik together got together, and we said, okay, let's create a platform where I could share my life lessons, and if I am the hero, let me take this, let me speak from the pulpit and inspire people to
Yeah.
become the better versions of themselves.
That's why
Now
the
that was,
documentary also happened.
yes,
I remember
yes,
that the transformation for which movie, I guess, War.
yes,
Yeah,
but that was
that was
much later.
amazing.
That
Yeah,
was
that was much
just
later,
before
almost
war.
like, yeah,
But
amazing.
that is the purpose, that a hero who's perpetually a hero also goes through very very human challenges, right?
Yeah.
While you may assume seeing on the screen that he's always a 10 on 10, but behind that 10 on 10 a lot of effort goes on. We said let's talk about what goes behind the scenes to make a hero the hero, so that everyone starts understanding that you too can become a hero.
Yeah.
So there is no magic. It is hard work, perseverance, discipline, consistency, and how does a hero do it? So HRX came into being. Now HRX blueprint said it's going to be a fitness brand. It's going to be borrowing from the icon that Hrithik is and inspiring and motivating people to become the best version of themselves. And through the research, we kind of came up with the categories that we need to be in. Fitness, of course, you need to be in athleisure, fitness gear, activewear. You need to be in footwear. You needed to be in equipment. And a lot of 10, 20 categories were listed through the research. Mintra was new, like you were saying, back in those days. It was 2013 that I'm talking about. The
Oh my
e-commerce
God.
landscape was just getting set. Mintra had also moved from being a books platform and a gifting platform to becoming a fashion destination.
I guess it was acquired by Flipkart
Mukesh
as well. Yeah.
Yes, it was with Mukesh Bansal when we
Yeah.
started speaking about HRX. And again, the gentleman's vision said that we need to have many, many private labels. Any business, for it to thrive, needs to have private labels. So HRX went and sat as their private label in the sports business unit.
Wow.
HRX became Mintra's private label brand for sports. And since then, it has just grown. So 2013, that was the first license, which got converted into a joint venture because there was so much promise. There was so much need. The way the business was evolving, the way the fitness landscape was evolving, we were very sure that this is going to become very big someday. So that was the first partnership with Myntra, and that's how we got started with Myntra.
Amazing. So, since on this journey, there are like a lot of legacy brands present in the market. Let's take an example. They're here for 50, 60 years. If you name
Yeah.
it like Nike, Adidas. So, how you have penetrated the market in presence of those brands as well? Because a lot of people have trust in them, and
Yeah.
they're here for a long period of time. They're coming from Western part of the world.
Right.
What are the strategies? How you have cope up with that challenges?
So, at the first level, Manish, I think what we worked upon was keeping the positioning very, very clean for HRX. If you talk about the legacy brands, they are all for the athletic pursuit. That's why the
Yeah.
sports people wear them, right? When you want to shave off a few minutes from your race, you wear something. When you want to perform as a tennis superstar, you wear something. We never got into the athletic pursuit. We stuck to being the brand which is for the everyday athlete, which means it's for all of us in this room. I am never going to run a race in the Olympics. That's not my
Never.
pursuit, right?
Yeah.
What I want to do is live a very happy, fulfilling, healthy life. I want to do my bit every day, 30 to 40 minutes, so that I ensure that I'm living a healthy, clean, safe life, so to say, where I'm protecting myself, I'm building an immunity. And it's never going to be me becoming the boxing superstar, one of those. So it's for everyday people who make a little effort towards their health, towards healthy living, towards better living, towards becoming better in terms of shape, size, form, in terms
Yeah.
of where they stand in, like lifestyle diseases. So if you're trying to combat, in case of women, if you're somebody who is combating PCOS, or in case of, larger part of India, diabetes or
Yeah.
thyroid, so we are for those everyday guys, and we don't need to put them in a quest for like crazy rigorous stuff. It is
Yeah.
something which we are aiding with them step by step on a daily basis. So one was a positioning clarity. Second was because we are an offline, we're not an offline brand yet. A lot of benefits were being passed on to the consumers in terms of affordability and pricing.
Agree.
By being an e-commerce brand, we could transfer price value to the customers almost instantly. And the quality is pretty much at par with some of the biggest legacy brands that you've spoken about. So it doesn't compromise on quality. Besides that, I think what we can achieve is flexibility, because we're not really a global brand, so to say. I mean, it is us who takes the call in terms of what do we want to do, what's new, and how do we want this brand to grow. It's not really an MNC with a head office. So we've been able to do a lot of customization. We've been able to become a people's brand.
Right.
So if you smaller little things in the beginning, when we identified the women's collection, for example, was very snug. And we realized it's not really selling. The reason, if we dwell into it, we could sense that women do not like working in snug clothes in the same gym, which is shared between men and women.
Yeah.
Second is, every body form is not so toned like the West. You build a fitness brand looking at the West, but that's not what the Indians are going to wear. So you have to think of transparency when they're sweating. You have to give them length so that they're covered and it's like little modest, so that they don't feel uncomfortable or get nervy. Even in terms of the shape, the Indian body shape is very different. All these insights have kind of gotten built into it. So quality of the product, the customization of the product, the pricing, all of these things have kind of played together in our favor. And of course, then we have Hrithik Roshan.
Yeah,
So
the face of the brand.
yeah, he lends all sorts of legitimacy to it.
So at the end of this episode, I want to know, like, let's take what learnings, what takeaways from your experience a small growing brand, a startup can take out of it.
For me personally, and I think at large for our organization, HRX has become a blueprint. It has set a path for us to create more such offerings in our country. What is a celebrity brand and what is a successful celebrity brand is something that we've learned from HRX, and this has kind of given us a vision that there is room for more if things are done right in a certain way.
Yeah.
And it can become, this formula can be replicated. It can become successful if you have the right story, right people, right kind of team, right kind of vision. I think this can go into becoming a very, very successful and profitable thought in the world of brands.
All right. That's it from mine. If anything you wanted to add anything at the last, you go ahead.
I want to know, when are you calling your people who we can host in Bombay? They can be the new additions to our community.
Yeah, soon, definitely. Let's see. Let's discuss it off track after it. Thank you so much, Pallavi, on being the show. I hope the audience will get some value out of it.
I hope so too. Thank you so much
Thank you
for
so
having
much.
me
Thank
on
you so
board,
much.
Manish.